What's up, world? Welcome back to Radical Investors, where we talk about stocks, crypto, NFTs, and all the ways how to make the money. I'm Wasu.
I'm Hamed.
And today we're talking about Elon Musk's potential takeover of Twitter.
Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Radical Investors. So happy that you decided to come back to us. If this is your first time at Radical Investors, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. When you do that, it helps us grow, and that's what we're all about here. Growth
and those quantum gains, which are 10x. We want a 10x return on our money, whether it's stocks, crypto. We want to bring you those opportunities. And if you're with that, bless that subscribe button.
Yes. You guys probably heard that Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter.
That's been the news story for the whole week. That's been the news, right?
All people have been talking about on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere, business news, everything. So we wanted to break down his actual attempt. What does that mean for Twitter? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? What are our personal thoughts?
Yeah, so, this, just to kind of summarize real quick, this started back, I believe, a week ago, right, where Elon bought up about a little over 9% of Twitter. So he owns 9% outstanding shares of Twitter, right? Which puts him in a very powerful position in being able to call for certain things. Then the next phase after that was there was talks of him joining the board, right? And the CEO was actually down with it, right? I think he agreed to being to calling, helping, having Elon.
I mean, Elon is friendly with Jack Dorsey, and he's friendly with a lot of the investors and people on the board of Twitter.
Yeah, and then at the beginning of this past week, he sent out a tweet basically saying, from his vantage point, that just being part of the board wasn't going to help Twitter get to free speech, right? And protect free speech. And in order for free speech to be protected within Twitter, in his opinion, he felt he needed to completely buy all of Twitter, and he put out a proposal price of around $54 a share, and that sent the internet going clashing with each other as to how they felt about the proposal. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Twitter did some defensive moves.
Then last minute,
after that, to make sure that they did something called a poison pill tactic. So they're defending themselves against a potential takeover from Elon. So, so the chatter and the conversation over it really centers around public utility, Twitter being a public utility in protecting free speech, and kind of some of the cancellations, I guess, that Twitter has done, has left a lot of a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and the people that we're talking about mostly are people that rest on the right, particularly ultra wealthy individuals.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is the game that we're playing right here, right? Because when Elon speaks about free speech, he's not talking about normal people like you watching the video, right?
Very good point.
You're only talking about that ultra elite club that he rests in. They want to have the ability to say, do whatever they want without any recourse, it seems like.
Exactly.
And that's why he's looking to buy Twitter. Now, I don't, me personally, we don't necessarily trust Elon's mode. I don't trust his motives. I think this searching for a daddy that people do when they're searching for a rich billionaire to tell them like everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna take care of everything. It might be Elon. It might be Jeff Bezos. It might be Mark Zuckerberg. It might this.
It's no different from the government, right? It's no.
You're looking for a solution in these people because you want these people to take over something and tell you everything's gonna be okay. But really, in actuality, if he buys Twitter and it's just him, it's going to reflect his morals, his beliefs,
his worldview.
Exactly.
Right? Now, you might say you agree with this worldview, or you might say, well, to me, in my opinion, right, I like Elon and I don't mind him spreading his worldview, but that doesn't necessarily mean that his worldview is actually baseline reality, right? It's baseline the real world view, right? Yeah. It's more complicated than that. And that kind of is protected with a company being public, right? When it comes to a private company, we've had private companies before, right? We have private companies. Our channel, right? We have a private channel. We can say what we want, right? You can do what you want. You own the thing, right? So I think there is a lot of euphoria and just Elon mania. I mean, quite frankly, next to Kanye West, these two are the most influential people on the planet. Like, whatever they tweet about, whatever they talk about, it becomes fully aware to the whole world. It somehow it's relevant out of nowhere, right? It can be anything, right? So that's a lot of power they already have as individual, that Elon already has as an individual, and hence why we're even like talking about this, right? Hence why when the announcement came that he bought 9%, that it sent the stock soaring 20%. But let's get back to it. So, like, on this channel, we're about investing, right? So to look at it from an investing point, because I think the narrative that's trying to be pushed on this, right, is this concept of free speech. And what I'll say to that is, like, if that's something Elon really wants to do, create a platform and call it free speech, call it whatever, and build it. But when you're talking about buying Twitter at $54, which I think is a crazy undergross discount, and there's been several conversations, several like actual fund managers and big heads in the investment space say, like, well, Twitter hasn't done anything in the last few years and their management has been whatever, and it was $70, but it was like all-time highs because the whole market was inflated. It's just trying to completely disrespect the management team like they're completely incompetent. First of all, this platform, it's already a challenge enough, and I would say they haven't even really tried to really like stretch and milk it for what they could if they really want to, right? There's so many things they can do, and I think go ahead.
Twitter is a fundamentally different platform than Facebook. It's a
completely different platform.
The ad model doesn't necessarily work. Right. Like, that's why I called it a public utility, right? Because it's the public square.
So it's a lot challenging. It's
more challenging, but Twitter Spaces. We actually did a video on Twitter being a sleeper play in the Web3 crypto space, because if you're in the space, literally everything happens on there on Twitter. It's it's literally the point guard or where people, the spearheading the Web3 movement.
Yes.
And that's a movement that companies are coming and basically becoming billion-dollar companies overnight, and all that information, all that discord happens basically on Twitter and Discord. So they're in a very, very healthy place, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're in a early stage of that too, I would say, right? So here we are, as crypto is becoming more broadly known, this company that's really the center for public conversation about this new industry. And you have this guy, Elon, which I'm a fan of, right? I've always been a fan of Elon in his entrepreneurship and his ability to really just make things happen, right? You have to give somebody credit who can facilitate and who can strategically position himself to rise as he has, right? Give him full credit for that.
Richest man in the world.
Richest man in the world. But when it comes to Twitter and trying to, use certain signals to then justify your reasoning and buy it like you're playing some bigger game, which is a technique he's used for other products, right? Other companies. And in those other companies, okay, it's fine. Maybe it started off privately, right? And that's one thing. We're talking about Twitter that's been out for more than a decade. The brand itself, right? I don't even know what's the IP, what type of IP Twitter has, but tweets, like, this is like fundamental into like human experience. So for one person to control that, I'm not with that. And then also I would say the price point is whack, right? It's like Twitter was just $60-$70 a few months ago. There are people that bought at those prices thinking, okay, eventually it's going to get to a higher all-time high in the future, 10 years from now. So somebody buying at 70 doesn't think 54 is a great deal, right? You may only think 54 is a great deal maybe if you bought Twitter back when it came out, right? Yeah. So it's all relative when you hear a price. And it's so funny to me how a lot of like big heads, right, that make these conversations like, oh, it's a great value. And it's like, to who? At what point, right? It's so the dynamics of what's a great deal for you as an investor is like, it's all base. It's all,
and you know, obviously we don't listen to CNBC here. Those guys, those talking heads there, because we know they're completely full of shit. Yeah. So that's
and we've got our own opinions.
Yeah, that's not it. But you know what? The takeaways from the Twitter management team and YouTube and all these platforms,
right?
There is a growing feeling of like free speech being trampled on does exist.
That is true.
And it is a real thing. We saw it, especially in 2020 with the virus, especially on this platform. Yeah. A lot of people being shadow banned, a lot of people being, silenced and stuff like that.
Big time.
It is wild, and we're seeing that in real time right now with the Ukraine situation. Right. If you have an opposing view, we stand with Ukraine here, but if you have an opposing view, right, they literally will silence your channel.
Right.
And it's not good to decide, if you don't believe like I believe, you don't have a voice. Right. That is not a good thing. We think Twitter's big move we called it in real time when they canceled Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And they took him off, they removed him off his platform. Wild. It was absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah.
Right. And we said if they can do that to the president of the United States, what can they do to us individual citizens? And that made a lot of people angry. And I think that was the absolute wrong call to do that. So they have some work as well to clean up that in-house, because you don't once again want to be the arbiter of truth. You don't want to go and be canceling people and pushing certain content to the top.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of internal work that needs to be done, right? That's the thing. Like they definitely need to clean house and come up with a better plan and be more transparent in how they are going about this. Because their brand is so important, right? It is so important to the world, to the point where people are considering things like this, right? Taking it private, just so it should be a wake-up call. Like, we need the stewards of this platform, of this business, to operate in a certain way and to really take their position serious in the magnitude of what product they have and the not only stakeholder value, but just collective, all stakeholders, right? Not just stockholders, but all of the stakeholders, the users, everybody, the workers, everybody. This is a valuable product.
Yeah.
And
because you can see, not to backtrack, but just having the power in one man's hands. What happens if workers at his factory wants to unionize?
Right. That's good. Taking another idea. Right.
Will you meet that conversation? So it's crazy, and we just again, it's not a good thing to put that power in one man's hands.
It's never a good thing. And then also, like, just on some like billionaire talk. Look, our goal, this is not a channel where we're just we bash wealthy people. We ourselves are fairly wealthy, and we're looking to get wealthier, right? So this is not some kind of bash, but there is something that is said where you have an individual, he's the richest, but just how stocks work, like, I find that weird. Like, this guy, if in order for him to buy this company, he does not have 54 billion, okay? This guy would borrow against his shares in Tesla mainly, right? He's only taken out like 10 billion last year in taxes. Got to pay half of it, right? But he's got to borrow against his shares and then use those funds to buy Twitter. So it's like, who's really benefiting from, like, the stakeholders, $54. Some people say it's a good price. Some people say it's trash, right? He gets this brand of Twitter. He's borrowing the shares. How is he doing that, right? It's banks, right? He's utilizing a bank. So a bank is going to get some great points right, on some great fees on this deal. And it's like, this is whack, right? Who's hurt on this deal? It's the individual, right? And now we're out of any upside for the rest of the life of Twitter.
Yeah.
It's a whack deal. So, yeah.
That's our commentary.
That's our commentary. Let us know what you guys think down below.
And the thing about our channel is it is a conversation.
It's a conversation.
So you guys might be Elon Musk fanboys.
Yeah.
Let us know why you think Daddy Elon's going to save you from being canceled on Twitter. We love to have the conversation.
Yeah.
You guys, happy hunting out there. Make sure you're making smart investments. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.